Well, I started out training to be an accountant, but that lasted about 6 months, and then I joined the police. So I have been in police and then regulatory roles for my entire working career, actually. So I'm not sure that's what I wanted to do when I grew up, but I found it compelling and interesting. Probably the usual thing for a lot of people joining the police is a family connection. So my father was in the police. And then after police, the logical step out is always to go into some form of investigator role or some kind of regulatory agency. And from there, I think it starts in terms of the interest, the challenge, the opportunity that emerges, built on those very basic skills, arguably, you get in police. And that's kind of how my career panned out. I think being a regulator is it's not easy, and it is something that's so multidimensional and full of a difficult mixture of facts and judgment and discretion and relationships, and that's just inside the building. And then you're inherently working with people that you're trying to often stop them doing something that's quite rational or beneficial to them, or get them to do something that isn't rational or beneficial to them. And I think that's the challenge, but it's also the great benefit of being in a regulatory world. It's much more complex, interesting and challenging than I think historically it's been perceived. And I think that also highlights the significance of it as a role and its importance in the way kind of society operates, if you like. I think the difficulty is actually is actually the thing that keeps you going, because you get to do stuff that really matters. And I think probably most of the people that I talk to, that's what is compelling for them, is that they know that the work really does actually matter in a day-to-day, real way. And maybe it's also because once you've been a regulator, it's hard to get a proper job. I think I've benefited greatly from working across different regimes with different people and having the benefit of their kindness in passing on their knowledge, basically. And I think that rather than going off and doing training courses, I've gained through working across a range of different regimes over time with other experienced people. I could refer to my first role out of police at the Commerce Commission, which it's quite a big leap to go from police to kind of economic regulation, particularly if you don't have a background in anything to do with that. So the advantage is you apply basic kind of regulatory investigative kind of experience in a way that's not clouded by perceptions or bias around everything that and what it means and how it works. And you can ask some simple questions and you get a lot of benefit out of people thinking you're an idiot, actually, when they tell you stuff, So I probably learned in the first few years out of police that the best way for me to learn was through doing things and working and listening to people and talking to people and experiencing stuff. And that's what I've done consistently. Well, when I was in the police, I found the most interesting thing was the wide range of things, people, issues that you dealt with, and the need to be kind of nimble and also very kind of people-focused. A lot of the policing in those days, and it was a long time ago, so I can't pretend to comment on what it's like in police these days, but it was very much about your ability to interact with a wide range of different people and to think through what the best way to solve a situation was, and apply I suppose what we'd call in the corporate speak now, an outcomes-based approach. And I suppose as well as being willing to use the full range of tools. I think about career development as a series of opportunities that have appeared on the horizon that you, when you look back, realise how they were connected. So, and this is true, I think, in the regulatory context. And as a regulator, if you follow the line that regulation is a professional activity, the core activities of a regulator are transferable. And if you want to develop your career, you won't necessarily do it in the one agency, because our agencies are relatively small and don't necessarily cater for that. But you can develop your career by going up in your agency or to another agency, constantly going up, or you can step sideways and experience something quite different and learn something quite new, which actually puts you in a position, I think, perhaps even to make a bigger step up the next time you have you make the kind of change that you're wanting to make. So I think it's sort of opportunity and willingness to explore things that are interesting, as well as chase the sort of constant up the ladder thing.